was never one of those kids who grew up knowing what I wanted to be. If you were to ask my brother, he would have simply said, police officer. My friend Emily, veterinarian. And my friend Anthony, firefighter. It seemed teachers and other adults were always asking the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? My responses changed regularly. I wanted to be a game show host, yes, move side Pat Sajak, a doctor, a TV judge version of Judge Judy, Judge Kate, an acrobat, a teacher, an artist. But by far, the most unique answer I had to this question was, I want to be a homeless person. I genuinely thought it was something I would excel at. I mean, I was small and could fit into tight spaces. I was beyond good at building forts. And I liked being outside. I would treat shelter building as a puzzle. There were no rules or instructions, and I could decorate as I pleased. I could run around all day and convince others to buy me hot chocolates. Plus, I would have loads of friends, and I would make everyone happy spreading my weirdness. I wanted to be the queen bee of the street community. My mom's embarrassment was at an all-time high. She would pipe up with something like, about the weather, and it being cold, and dark, and rainy, and unsafe, blah, blah, blah. But I was 11 years old, and I knew everything. There's no time for haters or those pesky dream crushers. High school and college came and went, and my career choices continued to change. The real world was tough. Dream jobs seemed out of reach, and real jobs were not so dreamy. To seek a break, I moved to Whistler. It had been chewed up and spit out within a couple years, and I started hanging out in the less desirable neighborhoods of Vancouver, hitting cheap bars with anyone who was willing. My bank account was dwindling, and I was living in a home with 4 other girls, 2 cats, and 1 washroom. Needless to say, life was not going in my favor. Then one night it happened. It was a fresh fall Saturday night, and I had been going strong since 4:30 of the Friday. My liquor and drugged-up body was slowly giving up on me as I found myself in a downtown East Side alley, alone and slumped up to a cold brick wall, nodding off. My jaw was fighting it, shaking, grinding uncontrollably in hopes of avoiding the sleep. Keep going, it begged me, but the rest won out. I needed this. It was a gentle shake that woke me. It was still night and my head was in a haze. My heavy eyes squinted at the dark figure. She tried to get me to move and stand up. I wanted to protest, but my words fell flat as the drool gathered on my chin. I groaned as a signal for her to leave me alone. It's not safe for you to be out here all alone. She kept shaking me to keep me awake. She said some more, but I couldn't make it out. She tried hard, but failed at moving me. Giving up, she wandered off. Minutes later, she was back. This time with someone bigger. The man tossed my body over his shoulder with little effort. I couldn't even scream. My body was so limp and useless to me, there was no choice but to go with them. I awoke in the morning in a tent. Musty blankets draped over my still damp clothes. The daylight shone through and burned my eyes while my head pulsated. I had the shakes, the type of ugly shakes that make me think of my grandma with Parkinson's. My voice was hoarse and I attempted a hello. A woman's head poked into the tent, and an arm reached to offer some water. It didn't look fresh, but I drank it. After a few moments, I gathered myself and crawled out. There was some scolding and motherly concern expressed. She even got down on her knees, begging me to stay out of the alleys and the bars. As she stood up, my eyes welled with emotion, and we soon became bound in a hug. I never did get the lady's name who helped me so very much that night. I think about her from time to time, and I hope she's hanging in. My newest path has led me far from the fruition of my 11-year-old self, and I am so thankful for that. And I know the woman from that night may not be the queen bee I had dreamed of, but she is something even better, my homeless hero.
Like most adults, and many 18-year-olds with properly functioning taste buds, I love sangria. Although, as I should be more specific. I love my version of sangria, which is called broke bitch sangria. It's called this for a couple of reasons. One, which is fairly obvious, is that I have no money and am therefore a broke bitch. Two, on multiple occasions, myself or someone else has broken something whilst drinking this. Now today you kind of get a double whammy. You get a story and a recipe for the best way to end the night in emergency care. Broke bitch sangria is a marvelous concoction consisting of the $9 bottle of wine you can find, a splash of whatever clear hard liquor you have on hand, and peaches. Take a swig of the wine straight from the bottle, slosh in the liquor, and shove slices of peaches through the top of the bottle. That's it. Simple but beautiful. Or simpiful. The day that this concoction created, however, was less simpiful and more sinful. This day was a day designated to team bonding, and therefore also designated to the world's best social lubricant, alcohol. At the butt crack of dawn, I met my teammates in the locker room with my swim bag that was unusually full of beer, Malibu, and of course, broke bitch sangria. After a quick splash in the pool, we converged in the locker room for the time-honored tradition of shotguns in the showers. We promptly soaked that up with bagels, and it was on to the flip cup, stack cup, beer pong tourney for the rest of the morning. I made it through the games relatively unscathed, minus a quick naked mile for being absolute shit in a beer pong. But I had yet to break out my sangria, and I had been thinking about it all morning, and I was sick and tired of drinking more Molsons. But I decided to wait. The peaches needed more time to soak up the winey goodness. Finally, the day ended with a house party, and it was sangria time. I was, and clearly still am, so incredibly proud of my invention, and the fact that I could drink it straight out of the wine bottle, that I spent the first 30 minutes not drinking any and just showing off how clever I was. It wasn't until a friend asked, "How are you going to get the peaches out at the end? Those are the best part," that I began to question my methods. But the party was just getting started, and I was nowhere near the bottom of the bottle. Slowly, the party picked up, and my sangria slurped down, and before I knew it, all that was left was peaches. Now I faced a dilemma only an incredibly drunk person could solve. How do I get the peaches out of the bottle? I knew my tongue, while long, was not quite long enough to reach the soppy peaches at the bottom, so I enlisted a friend to help me out. I held the wine bottle over my open mouth, and my friend began tapping the bottom of the bottle, trying to persuade the peaches to slide out. So I stood there looking like the butt of a bad blowjob joke as the peaches slowly slid out of the bottle. I got one peach, then another, then crack! My hand flew to my mouth. No blood. That's good. But there was something in my hand. Is that part of my tooth? I looked to my friends, who, being the type of people I'm friends with, are all doubled over laughing. I looked back at my hand. Yep, that was half of my tooth. And so my drunken brain did the only thing it knew how to do and reverted into high school lifeguarding mode. Didn't I remember you were supposed to put knocked out teeth in milk? Giggling at my situation, I ran to the kitchen, plopped my tooth in a Ziploc bag, and dumped in some milk. I stared at my milky tooth bag, proud of my quick thinking, and certain that the dentist would praise me as well. I put my bag of milk and tooth in the pocket of my flannel and continued on with the party. The next day, I woke up to a sore mouth and a weird-looking Ziploc bag of milk in my fridge. I made a call to my dentist, and luckily she got me in that day. I couldn't wait to hear her say how I'd saved my tooth and made her job so much easier. So I sat down in the lazy boy-esque chair and started explaining what happened. And she was so patient and understanding until I said, "But don't worry, I put the tooth in a bag of milk so you could reattach it." And I pulled out my milky tooth bag. And I wish that I had the words to describe her face when I did that, because I truly don't think that anyone has ever laughed at me that hard in my entire life. And to this day, no one has laughed at me that hard. She went from being motherly to museum tour guide in an instant and brought in all of her colleagues to show off the newest detail to walk in the door. When the laughter from 3 dentists, 4 dental hygienists, and 2 receptionists died down, she calmly fixed my tooth and sent me home, milky tooth bag still in hand, like some sort of dairy-obsessed tooth fairy.
This is it. This is my Eat, Pray, Love journey. Thailand edition. It feels like something magical is about to happen. I have been daydreaming about this day for so long, like how I'm going to meet a royal family at a cozy, chic cafe and we become best friends. And of course, I would get the invite to stay at the royal palace with gold statues and pavilions. Whatever a pavilion is. So it made sense that I only book the airfare. It will be a total waste to book accommodation when I'm going to stay at the palace with gold statues and whatnots. Sadly and shockingly, no Thai royal BFF or palace with pavilions. But all the people keep telling me about this dang tropical fish. So I go snorkeling. I don't know how to swim, but this package included free breakfast. And a life vest. Like, with such little money I paid, I don't know what I was expecting, but like, I was expecting one of those boats from the rap videos, like, that make you say, I'm on a motherfucking boat. There was a staff dumping water on the side of the boat. Told me it was a leaky toilet water. So when we got to our first spot called Shark Bay, the weather was terrible. It was windy and raining so hard and the boat was so shaky, right? So I made sure that I had my life vest on properly. And what was so interesting is that like none of the staff like assured us how friendly these sharks were. But I'm determined to see these dang tropical fish. So I jump in like a starfish with my mouth open and everything. As soon as I hit the water, all the water goes into my mouth, up my nose, into my goggles and burned my eyes. And my body is violently swaying with the water. And I realized, oh, life vest does not give you life. And from the corner of my eye, I see that the boat is so far away from me already. So I try the emergency whistle, and it's broken. It's like... I keep forgetting to close my stupid mouth and all the salty water keeps going in and I feel so exhausted and disoriented and I think, oh, this is how I'm going to go without seeing these majestic tropical fish. Then it happened. I projectile vomited all over the ocean like a fire hose. It was so amazing. All the jumping fish trying to get in my butt. Cheese bits, toast bits, noodle bits. It went on for a while because of the free breakfast. I don't consider myself Christian anymore, but maybe Mrs. Kim from Sunday service was right. God does work in mysteries. Thank you.